I'm SaltWire weather specialist Allister Aalders, and welcome to Behind the Weather. Here in Atlantic Canada, we're certainly no strangers to wind, from powerful winter storms, tropical systems, and even just sea breezes. But two locations here in Atlantic Canada often experience winds well over 100 kilometers per hour that would rival a hurricane. They are the Les Suêtes and Wreckhouse winds. Both are very similar in how they develop, but let's break them down individually. And we'll start with the Les Suêtes winds. Now, Les Suêtes is the Acadian French contraction given to sud-est, which is southeast in French. These winds are often associated with very strong low-pressure systems that move through the region, often during the late fall and winter months. So how exactly do these winds, the Les Suêtes and the Wreckhouse winds, develop? Well, you need a few key ingredients. You first need a very strong or a developing low-pressure system. Now, this low-pressure system needs to be usually somewhere between, say, the south shore of Nova Scotia and the Bay of Fundy. And this is key because as this low-pressure system approaches the Maritimes, we have, of course, this counterclockwise flow around the low pressure and these southeasterly winds that blow into the Cape Breton Highlands. So let's take a closer look at just how this happens. So you can see these southeasterly winds push up the southeast-facing sides of the Cape Breton Highlands and then come funneling down on the opposite side towards the sea at much greater speeds. So anywhere from, say, Margaree Harbour to Bay St. Lawrence often experiences these Les Suêtes winds that are much greater than, say, in Ingonish or even other parts of Cape Breton Island. Now, the Wreckhouse winds in southwestern Newfoundland are very similar. You get these southeasterly winds blowing up the southern edge of the Long Range Mountains. These winds funnel down into the Codroy Valley at much greater speeds, like I mentioned, that will often rival a hurricane. So how strong do these winds get? Well, you can see it's not uncommon to have Les Suêtes or Wreckhouse winds gusting anywhere from, say, 130 to 150 plus kilometers per hour. Gusts of 200 plus kilometers per hour have also been recorded in both regions. It's been known to topple over semi-trucks, and as well in the Wreckhouse area, it was said that trains that used to move through there would sometimes topple off the train tracks. So just incredible wind speeds. Now, this is something interesting. This is in La Prairie. Rita Thurlbeck sent me this photo. That is near Cheticamp, and you can see the roof of this home. They have long slanting roofs in the area. This is to help cut the wind. Windows on the southeast-facing sides are also much smaller to minimize wind damage. The windows often reinforced, and as well, locals have told me that the shingles on the roofs are often double-nailed. So obviously the winds do get very powerful. You need to have a lot of reinforcement to keep your property secure, and really, I don't think you'd be having any patio or lawn furniture out there either. Now, the Cape Breton Highlands in southwestern Newfoundland are not the only areas that experience terrain-based winds. I mentioned earlier the Long Range Mountains in Newfoundland, and if you get a southeasterly wind that is blowing ahead of a strong low-pressure system along the west coast of Newfoundland, you can often get winds that are much stronger than other areas in Newfoundland and Labrador, although, of course, we know that province is known for their wind. And back in the Cape Breton Highlands, you'll have a northwesterly flow that comes in, say, typically behind a strong area of low pressure. Those winds move over the highlands and funnel down into areas like Neils Harbour and Ingonish at much greater speeds than other regions in the province. Of course, that's what contributes in a lot of the times in the early winter season to snow squalls. The winds, though, not as intense as other areas. And of course, other regions in Nova Scotia and really all of Atlantic Canada can experience terrain-based winds, just not as strong as the Les Suêtes and Wreckhouse. It will often be hard to rival those. If you have a weather question, feel free to reach out to me by email, weather@saltwire.com. And now you are a bit more behind the weather.